Hey guys, it's Angelo. Today I'm gonna show you a really delicious Italian keto recipe for a change. As you may or may not know, I'm half Italian and my mother tongue is Italian, so from time to time my wife and I like to travel to Rome to visit the relatives there. And when we go there, one of our favorite meals is saltimbocca, and that literally means jumps in your mouth. And it's so freaking good that when we came back to Vienna, we tried to recreate the recipe and we tried to make it more keto friendly, as in some versions they might add some flour and some other things that don't go so well with keto. So it has become one of our top 3 favorite meals to make, and so we just had to share it with you. The original recipe, I think, uses veal most of the time, but since veal is quite expensive here in Vienna where we live, we use pork loin instead, and it still turns out really good. So let's get started. Okay, so here's what we're gonna use for the recipe. First of all, we're gonna use some pork loin, which stays nice and juicy after cooking it. Then we're gonna use some sage leaves, some fresh sage leaves. Then some bacon. You can also use some prosciutto if you want. Then some sea salt. Some toothpicks. Some grass-fed butter, or just some butter in general. Then we're gonna use some high-quality olive oil. And a little bit of white wine. Plus a little bit of ground pepper. So for this recipe, we're gonna use 500 grams of pork loin, which we're gonna start cutting up into small pieces like this. And here's what they look like after cutting. Now we're gonna start adding a little bit of bacon. In this case, we use 75 grams of bacon in total. Just have some small pieces of bacon which we place on top. And now we're gonna take the fresh sage leaves and just pull them apart into small pieces. You can also cut them if you prefer. And we're gonna place a small piece of sage on each of the pieces of meat. And by the way, a quick tip for storing the leftover sage. In the fridge it goes bad really quickly. So what we do is we just put it into the freezer until we need it again. And now we're gonna use the toothpicks to hold together the meat, the bacon and the sage while cooking. And here's the technique that Sophie uses. She just takes a toothpick, picks up a piece of meat, and then, pushes it through like that. And we are ready for cooking. Okay, now we're gonna preheat 2 pans on medium-high heat, and we're gonna add 25 grams of butter into each of them. So 50 grams in total. Next, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of olive oil into each of the pans as well, as the butter and olive oil mix creates a really nice flavor. Okay, now that the butter and olive oil mix is sizzling nicely, we're gonna add the meat. And we're gonna set a timer for approximately 2 minutes and 20 seconds or 2.5 minutes. While it's cooking, we're gonna add some sea salt, as well as some black pepper. Okay, time's up. Now we're gonna flip the meat in both pans. And now we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of dry white wine into each of the pans as well. And keep it cooking for approximately 2 more minutes or 2.5 more minutes. All right, so the 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes are over, and now we're just gonna pour over the juice over the meat. And you can even skip this step if you want. And then we're gonna turn off the heat as it's ready. And we're done. Here's what the finished saltimbocca looks like. It is so freaking good, you have to try it. Especially the sauce is really, really good. And you can obviously add some veggies on the side if you'd like. We just didn't make any in this case. And as you can imagine, we're really excited to have it. So, bon appetit. And here's the nutritional value for 1 out of 2 portions. 61 grams of protein, 66 grams of fat, 1 gram of carbs for a total of 875 calories. Okay, so that's it for today's recipe. If you want to make it less calorie dense, just don't pour over all of the leftover fat after cooking, or just use a little bit less fat overall. And hopefully you're gonna like it as much as we do every time when we make it. And if you enjoyed today's video, please don't forget to leave a like and to subscribe if you want to see more in the future. I'll see you soon.